Are you ready to break through the mental barriers holding you back? Welcome to the Mind Mastered Secrets of Excellence with Don Grant. Since 2001, Don has been guiding elite athletes like PGA Tour champions, Olympians, and world champions, and everyday individuals toward peak performance. With a proven track record, including helping Vijay Singh win the 2008 FedEx Cup, and her PGA Tour clients averaging a 219% increase in earnings. Dawn knows what it takes to succeed. She's the inventor of the Mind Mastered app, author of 7 Strokes in 7 Days, a sought-after speaker worldwide, and the proud owner of Amelia Shotgun Sports in Northeast Florida. Join us as we dive into powerful strategies, inspiring interviews, and Dawn's unique insights to help you excel in every area of your life, sports, career, relationships, and beyond. And now, here's your host, Don Grant.
All right, folks, welcome to Mind Mastered Secrets of Excellence. This is Dawn Grant, your host, and I appreciate you being here and following along, and for all your feedback, and for having the same interest that I do in trying to understand the human psyche, the mind, how to master it, and what are some secrets of excellence that we can learn from different people through the challenges and the circumstances of their life that they've been through, and how they've overcome those things, and how they are succeeding or successful or performing at a high level in spite of whatever it is that they have gone through, other challenges. So I've got Ranger Brody Young here with us today, and he has a miraculous and really cool story that I look forward to. Well, crazy story too, right? That I look forward to him sharing with us, but also, the growth, the mental growth, and what he's done with those experiences in his life and his secrets of excellence. So thanks for being here, Brody.
Thanks. Hi, Don. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Sure thing. What would be your little synopsis, your quick little soundbite of what's to come in this podcast? What you're gonna share, or what's your synopsis?
Well, maybe it's this. There's several things I would love to discuss, but we should all expect to go through hard things. None of us are immune. And so I think if we can tackle that issue with embracing hard times, prepping for those scenarios, those circumstances that are more of a lesson than a blessing, we can prep for it. We can get through those moments, and it's just a moment. It'll pass. And so I guess it's about perspective.
Nice.
There are hills and valleys we go through in life. None of us, are immune from it. And I learned a lot through this unique experience that I'm about to share.
Yeah, I like that synopsis. That's pretty great. Well, let's just start at the beginning. Where did you grow up?
I'm born in Idaho, right on the border, Idaho, Utah. Spent my grade school years in West Valley City, a little stint in Arizona, and then ended up in kind of Provo my high school years. Yeah, that was growing up a really fun time to grow up in the 80s and 90s, where we didn't have cell phones and we could get away with a lot of stuff and have it not be on video.
That's a fact. That area, that neck of the woods, were you pretty outdoorsy as a young lad?
Of course, Wasatch Front there's all city, but I craved getting into the mountains and getting into the backcountry. So I would go spend, 4th of July with my dog, and I would go up, onto the cliffs, onto the top of the mountains and watch the fireworks. I'd go down to southern Utah, which really opened my love for being out and away from people. The desert southwest of Utah is red rocks and very little water, a couple of rivers intertwined in there that I just really gained and came to love and knew I wanted to have that be a part of my life.
Very cool. Very cool. And growing up, enjoying the outdoors, and particularly those areas, did you always know that you wanted to be like a ranger or do something outside?
When I was 12, my parents reminded me that I mentioned I wanted to be some kind of forest ranger or something to that effect. I don't remember telling him that. It must have been a fleeting thought at the moment. But the outdoors, getting away was kind of an escape for me. A terminally ill mom growing up. We were not well to do. We were very poor per se, and so my escape was going out into the backcountry and most of the time with friends, but it was just a great
Yeah.
escape for me to, I guess, get away from my problems as a kid.
That area is more like flatland desert per se, isn't it?
Well, northern Utah is very mountainous. We
Okay.
have great
Oh,
snowfall ski, except for this year, but mountainous territory, pines and
okay.
mountain lakes and whatnot. But southern Utah is unique. You get into the southeast corner or southwest, it's very high desert, and a lot of iconic Western, films have been filmed in and
Right.
around the Moab area where I live now. Movies like, gosh, Forrest Gump, Indiana Jones, 127 Hours, Back to the Future, all those iconic movies, even John Wayne's. I mean, there's just a lot of vast, I guess, early movie history, early 1900s
So you
to
are in
late
Moab?
1900s.
Yeah. Good. You are in Moab now?
I am in Moab. Yeah, I've been here 25,
Oh.
26 years. And
I
um,
visited Moab with my daughter. She was looking at colleges throughout Colorado, and we had looped down and then came back up and went to Moab for a few days. It's like being on another planet, like Mars. It's so uniquely different than most of the other areas in the country. I found it really fascinating.
yeah, it's you've heard of the Mighty Five, maybe. There's five national parks within that central southern
Yeah.
Utah, and a lot of just open public land where you can roam. I can still leave 10 minutes from my house and find myself alone, you know, and away from, people and busyness and cell phone. Actually, you lose service quite quickly if you go into any canyon here. And so it's kind of you're right, it is Mars. It is an escape and really fun if you like mountain biking, hiking, river rafting, base jumping, jumping out of a plane. It's all here. So really fun place.
I remember we went up kind of like along the edge. I don't know if you call them mountains or whatever, but we were looking for the hieroglyphics, and seeing there were the folks on scooters with the little kind of bandanas over their face going by, and they've been out Baja and right and having a good time. But I remember we needed to reverse, like we needed to back up and turn to get back down. And there was this ledge, and I was like, heck no. I got out of the car, and my husband at the time, he did the turning around. But I was like, I don't know how these folks Baja through all this. I couldn't even be in a huge SUV near the edge. That was really, really cool. But also the dinosaur tracks in that area was really, really cool
Yeah, yeah, there's
also.
a lot of dinosaur tracks, petrified wood, fossils,
Yeah.
Indian lore like pictographs and ruins and granaries, and there's just a lot of history. Before we lived here, there was another civilization that roamed the earth, and before
Yes.
that, the dinosaurs were really prevalent here.
Remember, like frozen in time, a big footprint from a dinosaur, which boggles my brain also how that survived time. You could see the layers, from the ground shifting and where there's actual fossils down at the lower levels and everything. Really great area. I could see why you'd want to live there if you're fascinated with the outdoors and all.
Quite fun, and we wanted to raise our kids here to give them that, I don't know, perspective, the clean air, the being able to roam and take some risks.
Yeah.
Getting to the edge. We all grew on the river, where they grew up on the river, and they can, navigate their own boats. Strider and Jader River going to be river guides now in the summer, and Strider was
Nice.
last summer, and we did that too. Wendy and I were river guides. That's how we met. We came to Moab, didn't know each other, and she was my river guide. I was like a high adventure guide, and so she happened to be my river guide that day, and we met, and I chased and chased, and finally she noticed me, and we wanted to get back there just because we love this place. So.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds great. So you do become a ranger, right?
Yep, my job river guiding got me as a ranger.
Okay.
I had these skills. I could take people, passengers, on a big motorized boat and run some intense whitewater. We're talking 5 to 30 foot waves on a
Oh my
33-foot boat. So if you can imagine in high water when the snow melt is here, like it's sky water. It's really intense and fun and
Wow.
showing people a good time. But river guiding got me into the ranger world. I wanted to continue to be here and needed a full-time job, and seasonal work wasn't enough for me and my little family. So yeah, you could say I was a hippie, turned cop, and I think hippies make the best cops. We like people, we know the other side of the law, and
Right.
just our love for the outside is it's a real treat. Plus I
Right,
got
right.
college in a little over 5.5 years. So
And what was that? I'm sorry. What was 5.5 years?
oh, it got me through college in a little over 5.5 years doing the river guiding.
Oh, nice.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
really
yeah.
fun summer job. All you did was camp and couldn't spend your money because you were always camping out.
It does sound pretty great. We camped a lot. For part of my life, my father's in the Navy, so we lived out in Washington State for a little while. And a love of camping and being outdoors and was definitely instilled in me at a young age. And now I'm down in Northeast Florida,
Mm.
and between the humidity and the bugs and the underbrush, like you can't just like go for a walk in the woods. Somebody has had to have weed whacked and hacked and
Mm.
blasted through in order for there to be a trail. So it's definitely really tricky trying to camp. It's not even really worth it, I don't think. But so I miss doing that myself.
Envious of your weather.
Oh boy, there's a trade off though, right?
Yeah.
There's definitely a trade off for these things. My father himself, he's from Utah originally and swore
Really?
that that he was going to retire on the West Coast and absolutely loves the West Coast and especially like the Oregon and northern Washington into Canada. So always bringing us there and bringing us outdoors and just the love of the outdoors and that whole coastline. But my sister, myself, my brother, we're all on the East Coast. So he ended up giving up his dream to come out here and live here. But he was like hating the bugs and hating the humidity and the
Mm.
heat when he first came. And he's fine with it now. But, it's very different. It's very gorgeous and in a different way on the West Coast. And anyways, so I get it. So many different experiences around the country or the planet, but our country is just so varying, isn't it?
Yeah, we're pretty, I think, blessed, fortunate. It's such
Yeah.
diversity, and even Moab's super diverse. Half the town are hippies, half the town are hicks, and that makes for a
I could see that.
interesting and fun time
Right.
politically and just getting along with each other.
Right, right. I could see that. So you went to college. Is that part of being the ranger or was that a different degree?
It was a requirement. You had to have a bachelor's in a related field. Mine was in psychology, but
Oh, okay.
still related, deal with people every day. I'm like a Florida trooper or whatnot. We're just off the highway, on dirt, mud, snow, ice, and water. So enforcing, natural resource laws and boating OHV laws and, helping people get back home.
I gotcha.
There's potential to get lost, hurt, or worse. And so in the backcountry here, so we get a lot of calls
Yes.
here, search and rescue. Most calls in the state, actually.
Oh, wow. How often would you say that you're doing a search and rescue?
So last year in Grand, we had 130, 140 call outs. Some were
Wow.
4 and 5 in a weekend, but typically every weekend we'll get one or two,
Oh,
if
wow.
not more. And so there's a county search and rescue team, and if we're out working, we help assist and respond to any and all if we're available.
So on a day-to-day basis, you're cruising around in like a SUV or what?
Mostly a motorcycle for me. I like
Oh,
to
okay.
patrol on two wheels, and I can get to more people more often, on two wheels. And on the river, we've got a varying, choice of boats to a jet boat that can, you know, take a hit in a rapid, and then we have, paddle boards and rafts and kayaks and that little outboard motors with a kind of a rubberized raft with a metal frame, and we zip up and down.
Interesting. All right, so you get out of college. Where did you go to college?
I graduated from the University of Utah.
Okay.
I went to four schools. I was chasing Wendy, who's my wife. I snuck into BYU on a music scholarship and then went on a mission. So I went preaching Jesus for a couple of years. It was really fun in Kansas and Missouri, and then came back, went to a place called UVU, and Wendy lived in Salt Lake. I lived in Utah County, 30 minutes south, and so I transferred up to a school there and then graduated from the University of Utah. Go Utes.
Nice. Good. And then where were you living straight out of college? Did you started your ranger work, or that was kind of your
That started after college, and we had been river guiding in the summers while we both went to school, and then river guiding. It became, family or river guiding, and we wanted to start a family. So having kids, it's really hard to river guide. You're gone all summer, 5, 10 days at a time, and when you have little kids, that becomes kind of impossible. And so we lived downtown Salt Lake, and this job opened up. My friend who I river guided with was a river ranger, and he was transferring to be a Utah trooper. And so I begged him, if you ever quit, you need to call me. I really want to apply and get this kind of a job. And so that's what got me back to Moab, to where we both really wanted to be.
Right. I got you. Yeah. So what happened to bring us to that situation where you got shot? You were working as a ranger?
Yep, I was a young ranger. I had 4.5 years on. I was out and about doing my thing. I loved it. I was like any other day patrolling out in the desert. You meet the most interesting people out there, people who like to go out and disappear and get away and take risks. And so on this particular day, it was November 19th, 2010, normal day of patrol, and we had this chance, my supervisor and I, to work an overtime youth alcohol kind of a grant shift that night. We'd had a lot of success the night before. We found some kids and parties and found some underage drinkers. The whole purpose was to find those, take away their alcohol, issue them a certificate of achievement, and then if they were too young, we had to take them back to their families. But otherwise, they earned that certificate for a memorable weekend, and so that on that night there was a little bit more money in this grant, and we went out again. And so what we would do is we'd split up, go find these parties, and then come back together, jump in the same truck, and then go contact these groups. Well, we separated. I went north of town, he went south, and I was checking trailheads on my way out to where I thought there would be these groups. And the first trailhead I went to was Poison Spider Mesa Trailhead. It's one of the most difficult rated trails in Moab, and a lot of people get, broken down up there, or they get lost, as I said before, or hurt, or even worse. And so I was checking this trailhead. There was a lone car in the back of the parking lot, and I pulled up to it. I couldn't see its license plate or whatnot, so I got out to walk around the car, and I walked around to the driver's side, and I saw a lump in the back seat. And so I knocked on the window several times and woke this gentleman up, and he opened his door. I told him who I was and why I was there, and that he couldn't camp there. And so we talked about places where he could go camp. Well, after this really calm conversation, I asked for some ID. It's just standard what we do. And he said he didn't have any. So he gave me a name and date of birth, and the name he gave me was Michael Orr. If you remember that name, it was 2010. The movie had just come out, but it was from the movie Blindside. I didn't know any different.
Okay.
I hadn't
Yeah.
seen the movie yet, and so I wrote this fake name down, Michael Orr, and then a birth date. And then I asked him to wait there. So I started walking back towards my truck, and it was nighttime, really a warm before the storm kind of a night. This is along the river in this parking lot. It's up and elevated off the highway. So I'm walking back towards my truck. I can't hear any movement. It's 1,000 other contacts that I've had that ended the same,
Mm.
no adventure in it. Anyway, as I turned to get in, that's when shots rang out. He had gotten out and turned and just started shooting at me. First place he hit me was my left arm. Now I'm left-handed, heavy. That is my dominant hand. And so it hit my humerus and shattered it. And I knew immediately I was at a disadvantage in this fight. Fortunately, I had trained to use my non-dominant hand, how to cross draw, how to shoot, how
Mhm.
to reload. and I'd practice in my basement often because I had great supervisors who helped me attain that skill set. And so shoots me first in my left arm and shatters it, and I turn away and I just see muzzle flash as I look over my other shoulder and him just advancing on me. I believe at that point he shot me 3 more times into the back, and I was wearing a bullet-resistant vest that night, which was about to expire. They usually get replaced every 5 years. I was half. But anyway, he shoots me 3 times. One of those rounds goes into my vertebrae, just in the right spot, I guess. And I went to the ground, and then he just came up and stood over me and fired away. He fired 15 rounds at me and hit me with 9 of those rounds. My matrix moves were not very good that night. I was not dodging very many bullets.
Partly paralyzed and an arm that's not working. Yeah. Holy.
It was a real disadvantage. When I was on the ground, he fired more rounds at me, and those rounds kind of hit me under my vest towards my groin area and legs. And those rounds went up and in and bounced around, causing a lot of internal damage that I was not quite aware of. And then it goes quiet. It's silence. And what had happened was he had run out of bullets. He had a magazine of 15 rounds. It was a 40 caliber Glock handgun. These rounds were hollow point rounds, which means when they hit a hard surface, they tear and spread and cause a lot of damage. And all I could feel was the pain in my left arm. And so I was presented with the choice when it went quiet dawn. It was either you can lie down and die or you can get up and fight. And I did not want to die. I had not trained for it. It hadn't entered my mind. It wasn't a choice.
It's because good to not have that training.
I trained to live to train, right? What you train, you do. I can't express that enough. And so I did what training taught me to do. I got up and I went to the back of my truck. I went for cover and he went to the front of my truck. And then we started playing this cat and mouse game. And I was trying to figure out why my left arm wouldn't work. I was looking down at it. It was lifeless, looseless. When my humerus shattered, it dropped and nerves are all intertwined in there and nerves were pinched. And so my brain was telling my fingers to move, but they weren't. Kind of a helpless feeling. And then I looked over my right hand and I had a pad, a pen, and a flashlight still in my hand. And I looked down and I went,
oh my gosh.
Oh, you idiot. Like, drop those things. And so I dropped it and I cross-drew, grabbing the firearm on my left side. And I got a really firm grip and reached up. And at this point, I was at the back right side of my truck and he was in front of my open door on the driver's side. And I see a silhouette through the windows. And I began to fire through my windows, through the metal, through the frame. Now, I'd had 2 unique experiences that came up during this gunfight at that moment. The first one was we'd had training on how to shoot through glass, shoot through your vehicle. We would put an officer in the car. We got a bunch of old windshields. We would have them draw and shoot through their glass, through an old truck that we had used. That training helped me know that I was going to be able to shoot through my truck. And the other one was I had a conversation with my chief the summer before. We were on a river trip and lying in the sand at night, and we were talking about the bullets we carry and the caliber and what it'll go through and what it won't. And that came into my mind during this gunfight, during this moment, and helped me realize I could shoot through my cover, through my truck, which was my office, right? My greatest asset.
Right.
My truck could also be your greatest liability. There's a term in the cop world. If you get caught in your truck, it's a real detriment because it's harder to shoot someone on the move versus stationary.
Got you.
And so it's why I left my door open. It's why I felt strongly I should never talk to people inside my truck. I always got out. I was very active that way. But all those things were coming into play during this training. What we train, we do. And so I shot through my windows and I was counting my rounds because my reload was going to be awkward, unique.
Yes.
Not one I do all the time, but I'd practiced doing it. And so I reloaded my gun. I released the magazine. I put the gun between my legs, grabbed my first magazine. I drop it. I grab a second one. I put it in. I seat it. and I used the rear sights on my gun with my rear bumper and seated around into the gun, and then started to fire more.
Wow,
He was still
that's
coming after
impressive.
me. Average gunfight lasts like 10 seconds, and this felt like minutes, honestly. Time really
I'm
does slow
sure.
down in a traumatic, heightened situation.
I mean, your magazine was on your belt or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, we carried two on our belts, and fortunately I had to. I dropped the first and
Oh my
went to the
God.
second one, but
With your right hand, you got the magazine out and loaded the gun with your right hand. That's amazing to me that you are able to do so much in such a short window of time. That's cool.
yeah, I don't know if I can reiterate it enough, but I trained to do it, and so I did it.
Yeah. Yeah,
We
it's
can
subconscious.
do that in so many aspects of our lives,
Mhm.
physically, mentally, socially, spiritually.
Mhm. Mhm.
Learning skill sets to help us get through the valleys, get through those hard moments, get back on the hill. I don't know, say prepared, but if we're prepared, I guess is the best word.
Yeah, yeah.
We can overcome hard things. This
Yeah.
was just one instance where it was really paramount.
So you were successful at shooting through the glass or the door?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
I shot at him, which caused him to retreat. He went to the front of his car, and then I moved up to my right rear window, and then he raised his hands and it was silent. I stopped shooting because we're taught when the threat stops coming after
Mhm.
you, you stop going after it. And so I had him at gunpoint, and then he just said, "You got me." And then I began to lose consciousness. I think my adrenaline had run out.
Yeah.
All those internal injuries, I was just running out of gas, I guess you could
Yeah.
say. And so I started to backpedal to the back of my truck, and I fired more rounds as I went unconscious. But I think he thought at that point I had died, and so he
Oh,
got into his car and left the parking lot. He went down the hill to the highway, and then he went downriver, which, if you know Moab, downhill and away, it goes out to Canyonlands, Schaefer Trail. It is no man's land, just desert, and no one lives out there, and it's just away. And that's the way he chose to go. And he drove about 16 miles, drove off the beaten path or off a trail, damaged his car, got out, leaving a blood trail, and then he walked about a mile. And then he staged to where we thought, or they thought, those going after him, looked like he was staging to ambush more officers who were going to come after him. But for some reason, before the sun rose that next morning, this happened about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. But before the sun rose, he just left his backpack, left his 22 rifle, left his supplies, and disappeared. No blood trail, nothing, and no track. It just ended there, and so it became kind of a mystery. Well, back where I'm at the trailhead, I wake up a short time later. I realize he's not there, and I realize no one knows I'm there. I didn't get that
right.
chance to sit in the vehicle and call out, my location and who I was with, give them that fake name and date of birth.
Right.
So laying down, 25 feet away or so from my truck radio, which was going to be my only lifeline. I was wearing a handheld radio, but I'd been shot in both arms. Let me just read you a list of where I was shot that I didn't know
Yeah.
of at the time, but my heart, small intestine,
Oh my
colon,
God.
right kidney, liver, diaphragm, left lung, spine, pelvis, left humerus, left triceps muscle. My right forearm was pretty mangled. My right femoral nerves, my right hip flexor. I
Oh
just felt really numb. My right leg and both arms.
yeah.
This arm was useless. It was just, I felt so heavy
Holy
laying
cow.
on the ground there, like I was filling up and it was getting really hard to breathe.
Mhm.
And I knew I had to make it to that truck radio. And so a really remarkable thing happened. I started seeing my family in my mind, my wife, my three young kids who were 6, 3, and 9 months at the time,
Mhm.
seeing their faces and realizing I want to grow old with them. I want to be a part of their lives. And that
Yeah.
gave me the courage to move. And so what I did was, gun in hand, I grabbed my left arm because it was really loose and lifeless. It felt strange, but I'd roll onto my stomach. I'd breathe, roll onto my back and breathe. Eventually, I made it to my back bumper of the truck and readjusted and then just rolled slowly down the left side of it. And then I get to my truck door and it's open. I've always felt like I should keep it open. Call it
Right.
a premonition, but I've always felt like it. We have the luxury being off the highway, right? We don't have cars whizzing past us when we're on
Right.
a traffic stop. And so truck door is open gratefully, and I reach in and I grab the mic and I call out, take a breath, first of all, and I call out, we're supposed to be calm on the radio, and I gave him my radio number, price 2 Alpha 69. I'm a poison spider mesa trailhead. I've been shot. Please hurry. And then I laid the mic down, laid my gun on the floorboard, and I just laid down after that. I don't think I could have done anything else. At least I hadn't trained to do anything else,
Right.
like carry a tourniquet or help
Mm.
rest some of my wounds. I'd always thought about the before and the during, but not the aftermath. And so I laid there, and then there was one thing I did do to help me in that moment. I'd read some research on how you can slow your breathing,
Mm.
control your breathing, control your vitals. And so that
Nice.
research article I'd read years before came up into my mind. And it would, to me at that time or at that moment, was just focus on one breath to the next. And so that's all I did. If I could still breathe, I know I'd have a chance to the next breath and to the next
Right.
breath.
Right. Holy.
After I lay down, my supervisor's voice comes on the radio. All the people I know in Moab start chiming in, and he calls for a helicopter immediately. Gratefully, there was one available over in Colorado, Grand Junction, St. Mary's Hospital. And the helicopter's coming, and 2 officers show up first on scene. It's about 10-12 minutes later.
Oh boy.
I'm still focused on my breath, and they don't know he's gone. So they come up, rifles in hand. Like once they clear the scene, they call in the ambulance. It shows up, and they start cutting off my clothes. And while I was focusing on my breath, I was thinking, oh, they're cutting off my clothes now. I don't think I'm getting those things back. And I was really disappointed in the moment that I wasn't getting my favorite socks, Under Armour, you know how you just get into the right clothes, well, you feel good in. That's what I was in that day, just the right stuff. It was a fleeting thought, or it's kind of encouraging looking back on it. I'm not getting these things back. I was just really disappointed. Like death was still not an option for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thought about it. When they cut off my clothes, I started bleeding out. And now it was plug the holes time and try and get blood into me, which was difficult. I was losing a lot of blood. Average adult holds about 10 to 12 units. When you go donate blood, you donate 1 unit, right? And they give you cookies and juice and you recover from it. But I was losing and had lost all the blood in me. And so ambulance shows up. I'm really slippery. They finally get me onto a gurney. I get into the ambulance. My supervisor shows up. They're asking me questions about where he is, where he could have gone, what did you talk about? I try and relay the best I could. I'm conscious for the ride all the way to the hospital, which was about 10-12 minutes, to an old abandoned Allen Memorial Hospital that was about to be, well, it was a legally condemned building. They were
Oh
building
my
a new
gosh.
hospital in Moab, and they dedicated it a few months later, but willed into Allen Memorial Hospital, and I spent about 20 minutes there before they intubated me and threw me on a helicopter. When I was pulled out of the ambulance and in the back of the hospital, at the entrance of the ER, doctors described it like this, or EMTs there said that it just flowed out onto the ground. I was just out of blood. Veins were collapsed, white as a ghost. I had the look that they often see when someone doesn't make it. They were staring at me saying, man, I don't know if he's going to make it, but I get
Yeah.
wheeled into the room. Wendy gets a call at home. She just put the kids to bed. Telephone rings. It's her friend whose husband's a trooper who had heard the news on the radio. And she said, you need to get to the hospital now. Wendy's like, what are you talking about? And her friend says, I'll call you back, and hangs up on her. And if you can imagine getting that kind of news in that situation, it's pretty tense. Rings again. It's someone else. He finally spits it out. Brody's shot. It doesn't look good. You need to get to the hospital right now. she's like, should I bring the kids? And he's like, I don't know, just get there. And so as she
Dang.
hangs up with him, there's a knock at the door, and it's her friend that had just called. She just rushed over and said, I'll watch the kids, and you get over to the hospital.
I'm going to cut you off just for a moment because I'm literally getting lightheaded and I need to get some air. And I think it's this story you're telling me, but hold on a minute, okay?
No problem, Don. Thanks
Okay.
for the pause.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Don.
It felt like I was going to pass out myself. I guess I got really into what you were saying. Like my mind can go there. I don't know. Holy cow.
I'm sorry about that.
No, I was thinking about all this stuff you're saying, and I was getting really. I think it's part of being like an empath, like I can feel things or whatever. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was like, I think I'm gonna pass out if I don't walk away for a moment.
Sorry, I'm sorry about that.
No, you're totally fine. Don't. There's nothing to
I'll try and
apologize for.
break so you can ask questions.
It's amazing. Your list that you gave, of especially your heart, right? Like, did it just skim your heart? Like, how in the heck were you still alive? That's incredible.
So doctors explained this to me, and this is probably the most miraculous, one of the miraculous parts about this. When I was on the ground and he was shooting me, right? These rounds were going under my vest and in. This round went up and in and bounced around and hit my heart. Well, my heart was deflated, and I think it hit the left ventricle. So it was deflated, and it got nicked by either a bullet or a fragment of one, and then my heart inflated, and it pushed out and slid between my heart and esophagus and
Wow.
rested there, and then a clot formed where that nick was, and that just doesn't happen in a
Yeah.
wet environment inside our bodies. For it to clot that quickly like that, that's beyond a medical explanation. It's just, I
Yeah.
think, from a higher source, or it's just in the perfect environment, but it kept me from bleeding out, of course, right? The heart's the pumper, and
Well, the
hard to
other
explain. And every time my heart beats, that bullet is still there, and it moves, and it's just in the right spot. Hard to explain.
you're not saying now, are you?
What's that?
Is this still in there? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I still have 4 bullets in me. One's in my vertebrae in my back. It's in the perfect spot. It's, everything important in between a vertebrae, all the nerves and whatnot. There's that one in my left lung is still there, just in the right spot. There's one in my right hip. I light up like a Christmas tree in a 3D X-ray. The body's amazing. It'll encapsulate foreign objects, and where these bullets landed, they're just in the right spot. I had several removed, but shot
Wow.
times 6 were fatal, and a lot of shrapnel, but just in the right spot. I took a doctor's note to the airport, my first time, and
Right.
I would ring off all the bells and buzzers, and they just laughed at me and said,
Hey,
head on through. A lot of people apparently have metal inside of them, so.
you don't get specific. You don't say bullets. I have 4 bullets inside of me.
Apparently a lot of people have a lot of metal inside of them, so.
Not bullets, though.
That's true.
I'm also really amazed that you stayed conscious and have very vivid memories of the whole experience. That amazes me also.
Yeah, no blood, and I'm still breathing and conscious, and I'm giving them details, and I was really focused on my breath. It was really hard to breathe. Wendy
Yeah.
rushed over to the hospital, and on her way to the hospital, it's about a 2-minute drive, she was just overcome with this feeling, but words in her mind that said, Brody's going to live, he's going to be okay. So when she showed up, she was calm as can be. ER doctor walked up to her and said, are you really the spouse?
Ugh.
20 minutes I spent there was chaotic, right? They're trying to get blood into me, which they eventually do, which was the most painful thing I've ever experienced. Way worse than getting shot 9 times, but they drill below your kneecap and flush blood into your bone marrow. It's kind of a last resort when they can't stick a vein to get blood into you, and it's done on unconscious people. And it hurt. I screamed. I thought 2 lumber
Wow.
kind of sawing away. It was extremely, extremely painful.
Oh my goodness. Holy.
Conscious, yeah, it's hard to explain.
A lot of what you referenced related to trained behaviors and being I'm a mental trainer, but I'm also a hypnotist. So I work a
Mm,
lot related to the subconscious mind and how when you've repeated anything consciously that it then goes into your programming, and that's what we call a habit. It's also what we call beliefs because we have repeated thoughts as well that become our belief
mm,
systems. But also a very spiritual person. Really, I love that you had insights that you can remember also, like those so you've, read certain books, so you had certain training and things that bubbled up, but they bubbled up, like, instantly and at the right time, and then you're inspired to do certain things. I think that's really cool also, 'cause to me, that's even more than just conscious or subconscious. It's like guidance or a guardian or angel or your higher self or something like that.
yeah, I'm very, I try to be very spiritual too and listen, right? Your body talks to you and it's conscious or these premonitions, they speak volumes and I've always tried to listen to that.
Yeah.
It helped me that night. Like it helped me remember when it counted. Like to me, I'm getting help from a higher source, but
For sure. What can hinder that is when somebody's too conscious, meaning like analytical, and they can go into like worry or regret or fear thinking and just
mm,
like all that spinning. But when you can quiet that part of your mind, then you can hear the guidance. And to me, that's what your wife experienced also on the way to the hospital. And when that guidance comes, a feeling of truth to it, and that's another thing that you explained that I thought was really cool. Just there was a feeling of truth to this statement that she heard in her mind that you were going to live, and that brought her peace, because it to me again that came from a higher source as well, right? And she knew to listen to it and to trust it. You both practice faith a lot. I know you said that you spent a few
yes,
years
yeah,
traveling.
we do. And in honestly, the backcountry brings it. Like it's quiet. I think that's why so many people love coming here or going out away, like seeking quiet, seeking those feelings, seeking that silence, which opens, I don't know, our spiritual ears or
Yeah, yeah.
awareness, just opens that awareness which I really love. It's like an adrenaline rush for me. I love getting out and away.
Did you ever watch that TV show Alone?
I haven't seen
It's
that. Is it
kinda
on
like
now
that.
or is it an old series?
I think I actually still have them come out because they do it all over the world in different places, like Alone Australia or Alone Canada,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
but, kinda like the Naked and Afraid one, but they're not naked. They're, like, alone, and they were allowed to bring, like, 10 items or whatever, and they're looking to survive and wherever they're at,
Yeah, is
and
that with Bear? Is that the one like you get dropped off?
you do get dropped off, yeah,
You gotta
different.
survive 7 days. You can get to a destination or something.
Oh, yeah, no, this one's they just try to go as long as they can, and
Oh
some of them
wow.
make it a month or a month and a half and maybe 2
Wow.
months, but I
Wow.
brought that up because one of the reasons I enjoy watching it is, at first you've got the shelter, food, water, logistics, right? But once they start getting some of that in place, or even working on getting some of that in place, all sorts of mental and emotional things start coming up. But the ones that
Mm,
stick around the longest, like have been out there 3+ weeks or something, they got all the logistics down, they figured out a food source and water and all that. They start really connecting and such deep reflection and huge, huge personal growth. And I just find that really interesting because, and when I analyze it, I'm thinking, yeah, when you're going about your day-to-day life, like cell phones and neon signs and commercials and media and like it's a bombardment to our conscious mind, and
yeah.
all of that is like static on a radio. It's all that static, and when you can either learn to turn it off and still be in the busyness, or you go out somewhere where you could deliberately turn it off, like I said, on Alone, they like no cell phones, no media, none of that, and such great spiritual awakenings and insights. And I think that on a unconscious level, we all know, um, we're drawn to nature and to being outside and all that, but I don't know that everybody honors that they don't
Mhm.
recognize it necessarily. But It's a huge tool. Yeah. So amazingly, you survived.
Yeah, there's this saying in mindfulness that pain is inevitable, but the suffering is optional.
Yeah.
But we all have things happen to us. We all have pain that we experience, right? The way we relate to that internal experience is often what creates the suffering, right, that we have in our
Yes.
life. This is kind of good news because if we have the power to create it, we have the power to dispel it.
Right.
Well, we can't control someone's negative behavior. This guy tried to end me, and that filled me full of anxiety and fear. It's not a good feeling. But we
Yeah.
can control how we participate in that. Every
And how were
person
you when you first came out? Did you have fear? Did you get back on the horse or what?
is very full of fear, even
Yeah.
in a coma. If someone came in, and a new nurse, my friend was sitting next to me, he would explain kind of what happened. And I'm in a coma and I would get agitated. Like they had to bring a familiar voice in to calm me down. I was just so full of anxiety and fear. Someone
Oh,
tries to end you. Like I'm a people pleaser and that's hard to grip, hard to grasp. And so
right.
I begged for peace. So I woke up in the hospital. I was super lethargic. This was 3.5 weeks later. And when you're in a coma for 3.5 weeks, your body just atrophies, like my muscles, and I couldn't move my arms. I couldn't walk. You just atrophy. And the trauma I'd experienced was so intense that it was just survival mode. And so I used all of my energy to try and get better and heal. Well, I had to do things again. I had a tracheostomy. They were feeding tube. They were doing everything for me while I sat in a coma there, and had to learn to do those things again.
Yeah.
I had the strongest premonition to get fit 9 months before this happened. It was sit-ups, push-ups, run, just the cardio,
Oh,
and
wow.
that impression made such an impression on me. I got consistent. And doctor said, had I not had the girth I had, I wouldn't be here today.
Right. Yeah. I
I
could
was
see
just,
that.
I don't know, kind of being prepped for this thing that I didn't know was coming. And we all have these things that we don't know is
Mhm.
coming. And if we could take a moment and sit in silence and right learn and study and read and prepare for when those hard times hit. And they're just moments.
Yeah.
Like the U2 song, right? It's just a moment and it'll pass. Some say
Right.
that never will be better, but it's just a moment and you can't get out of it. It's just a moment. It'll pass. Like that's perspective. When it
Yes.
seems like the sky is collapsing, right? Relax. It's just the roof caving in. That's perspective.
Yeah. How you perceive things. It was several years ago, but in my private practice, 2 different ladies coming in. But they both had hired me because they're going through a divorce and they wanted me to help them, right? So, like, let's say the 9 o'clock appointment came in and she was crying. She thought it was the most horrible thing. She was, fearful of her future, her life, her kids, just like devastated and thought it was
Yeah.
the most horrible thing that was happening. And so she was hiring me to help her to move past some of that, to sleep better, and all that. And then ironically, she left, and it was the next client that came in was another woman going through a divorce, and she was actually in a pretty good state of mind. She was like, "I'm looking forward to the next chapter of my life. That served its time. There was a season for it, and I'd like for you to help me to kinda define the direction that I'm gonna take things in and, get some clarity about myself." And that I thought that was so interesting because it just showed perception, right?
Mm.
It's never ever that external thing. Although for a lot of people that sounds, I don't know, cold because there are these external things, as in your case, pretty traumatic things that can happen. But how we perceive them is then whether, as you said earlier, it creates suffering or not, right? And I know someone who lost a baby to drowning in a
Mm.
pool, and of course, there's the natural and normal grieving process, but after that, she started developing a program locally to for infant swimming, right?
Mm. Wow.
Do you feel Well, how long did it take you to recover first? And then, um, what was your takeaway, you think?
So I woke up, 3.5 weeks. I spent 2 weeks in the hospital because of the shape I was in. And I overcame fear and anxiety in the hospital. I begged for it, pleaded for it, and achieved a peace that allowed me to start healing and growing. And so being physically fit and then having that mental clarity that life is still good. I started to heal and went home Christmas Eve. So November 19th, rushed to the hospital. December 24th, we went home that day. Well, I shouldn't have gone home that day. We did, but I passed all their tests and I just started to heal. And that peace was very intertwined with forgiveness. I found
Mm,
a way
mm.
to forgive him for what he had done to me. And
Yeah.
that changed my world. As soon as I could get past that fear and anxiety, and where I didn't really have hate for him, my mom taught me to forgive and forget, but I found forgiveness and it changed my world. I could move on. I could start healing, getting better, growing.
And
And
that was pretty early on, like around December or whatever, that you found the forgiveness?
yeah, woke up
Mhm.
December 13th and I don't know,
That's impressive
found it
also.
before we left the hospital. It
Wow.
was I was alone in a hospital night with buzzers and peepers and I was
Mhm.
scared.
Right.
And I hate that feeling. Faith and fear can't coexist in your heart
Mm-mm.
at the same time. It's just
Mm-mm.
one or the other and I hated it. And found it. It was a gift, honestly.
Wow. That's
And
impressive
I
too.
could start to move forward. It
Right.
was never forget it, and I'm still learning forgiveness. Like I just in that moment, in that situation, like forgiveness is reoccurring throughout our lives. We have people that
Mhm.
piss us off every day. Like you can choose or get better. Like that's it in its most simplistic form. Get bitter or get better. And
Yes, true.
I like the feeling that better brings and not bitter.
Absolutely. And that affects every action and decision and your health of your body and everything. Those are some pretty powerful secrets that you've shared.
Thanks for the
Secrets of
opportunity.
excellence. Yeah, that's powerful information. I know you repeated early on was that training and the repetition and definitely taking care of your body because you don't ever know what's going to come up. Obviously, there's a lot of great benefits to exercise, but having the strength and the endurance and the ability to handle anything that comes your way, um, and that could be anything to the extremes like you've experienced to,
My case is extreme, and I was compelled to appreciate like life now. There's four things that are most important to me from this. It's my relationship with higher power, God, his many names, family, friends, and even our enemies. Our relationship, how we treat each other, that's what we take when we leave this life. And those are the most important things.
so you're active ranger still?
Still doing it, yep. I'm a lieutenant, so I'm a little more office bound, but I've got guys and we go out and yeah, I love this job. I love the uncertainty it brings from day to day. Like we never know what's coming tomorrow.
No,
This
you
could
don't.
happen to me again. That's I've expecting it. And so you try and life is so good. I just can't
Yeah.
express that enough. If you want to have a good day, turn off the news. Like
Yeah, for sure.
few in the bad that get highlighted on the news makes it seem like the world is falling apart. But turn it off, go outside. Still pretty good. And there are a lot of good things happening all around us.
Yes.
Einstein said you can live every day as if everything's a miracle, or you can live the opposite.
And you just stop long enough, any human just stop long enough to pay attention to just one miracle. I think it's so fascinating. The whole body is miraculous to me, but that you're basically breathing fluid when you're in the belly, and the moment you hit air, the little flap moves instantly, and you can breathe oxygen. I think there's just so many fascinating things like that to me that it's really incredible. There's a lot of miracles as far as how our bodies function and what we're capable of, but serendipitous moments are one of my favorite. And also tuning in like we talked about earlier, as far as knowing what that greater consciousness voice sounds like, so you can turn off your own fear-based thinking.
Yeah,
And
the chatter between the ears, there's so much of that that gets us down.
yeah. And, another interesting thing is just in normal mindfulness practices is focusing on your breath as a way to not worry and such, because your conscious mind can only focus on one thing at a time. Like, it's called one-pointed attention. It can only focus on one thing at a time. And even in your example of, when you're shot, you could have gone to worry. You could have gone to fear. You could have done all these things, but by going to your breath, actually, and then managing your breath, you gave your conscious mind something to do instead of any of those other options, which definitely saved your life in a lot of ways and calmed you down and shifted your biology. Yeah, because the
That is
monks,
such a great observation. I love it.
yeah, it's one of the things that the monks do and all that. If they want to lower
Mhm.
their blood pressure, blood pressure, but their body temperature, or increase it, or whatever. Well, very cool. If you could give one piece of advice, I know you actually have given lots of pieces, but what's one piece of wisdom that you'd like to pass on to everybody right now?
So I came across this, and it's this little quote, but it's about perspective and never giving up. And maybe that's the message: never give up. But here's what it says: it says, if people don't like you, that's okay. They can't whip you. But if they can whip you, they can't kill you. But if they do kill you, they can't eat you. If they eat you, you don't have to taste good. Isn't that the epitome?
Yeah,
Never
right.
giving up. Like,
That
this guy
sure
was
is.
gonna eat me that night, and I was not going to taste good. Like,
No, you aren't.
it's a fun way to look at it, but man,
Yeah.
never give up.
Yeah.
Life is so good.
I agree. I agree. Well, thank you. I want to tell folks that there are some free goodies and opt-ins for any of my 3 businesses at dawngrant.com/free. I do have online courses and such. Follow me on social media. And Brody, do you have any contact info? I know you do some motivational speaking and all that.
I do. I try and travel and speak. RangerBrodyYoung.com is where you can go and see that. I've also written a book called 9 Miracles: When Bullets Can Kill and Hope Prevails, and it is a really good read. It's way more in detail of the miracles that took place, but also all the people that came to our aid. We found through this that there are so many more good people and things happening around us.
mm,
And the few and the bad that get highlighted on the news.
yes.
It's
Yeah.
just a good place, but it is how you want to see it. You want to live miserably, live miserably. You want to live happy. Well, we have to work and make and keep ourselves happy. It's
Takes
the
effort.
traveling, not the destination, that
Yes.
matters.
Yes. Yes.
And
Perfect.
we can choose to be happy. It is our privilege. It is our right.
You're absolutely right about that.
Or we can feel otherwise, but it's up to us.
You could go either way with that one pointed attention. Like, how am I going to perceive this? How
Yeah.
do I choose to
Yeah.
think about it? And most people don't realize it's a choice, but it is definitely a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, thank you very much, Brody. What a great story. I appreciate you sharing it and giving us your insights and wisdom and secrets.
Pleasure to meet you. Thanks. That book's available wherever,
Okay, perfect. Perfect. I look
all
forward to
the
reading it
outlets.
myself.
So
Yeah.
thank you, Don. I'll
Thank
send you a
you.
copy if you give me your address.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Mastered Secrets of Excellence with Don Grant. Whether you're an elite athlete or pursuing success in your career or personal life, Don Grant's expertise and insights are here to guide you. Don't forget to visit dawngrant.com/free to grab your exclusive free resources, hypnosis audios, mental training tools, and even a golf cart at her club. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow, rate, and share this podcast. Stay connected with Dawn on all social media platforms for more inspiration, tips, and updates. Remember, mastering your mind is the key to unlocking your full potential. Until next time, keep pushing your limits and striving for excellence.